Good morning, CBF family. Welcome and thank you for being here. The moderator now calls the 2025 General Assembly business session to order. The first item of business is the adoption of the agenda as printed in the program on page 37. There is an addition to the printed agenda. After the report of the Mission Excellence Awards, we will recognize the current student serve participants and recognize mission engagement partners, celebrating milestone in 2025 before the recognition of field personnel retirements. With that addition, is there objection to the adoption of the agenda? There being no objection, the agenda as printed with the noted addition is adopted. The General Assembly is now ready to move to the reporting section of the business session. You will find the list of reports and the presenters in the agenda. Each presenter will come and make the report in order to the corrected agenda. The moderator will not introduce each presenter.
Good morning and welcome to the Thursday morning business session of our Cooperative Baptist Fellowship General Assembly. It's been an honor and a privilege to share these days with each of you. My hope and prayer is that as you hear the reports, receive the presentations, and take action on the matters required, you will sense the Spirit of God at work in our fellowship in powerful ways. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Our General Assembly theme from Ephesians 2 says, "In Jesus you are also being built together into a dwelling place for God by the Spirit." The Cooperative Baptist Fellowship invests in students being built together through our Leadership Scholars Program. For more than 25 years, we've helped fund theological education, equipping ministers to lead within God's grand invitation to come belong. Each year, a subcommittee of the Ministries Council reviews applications from students, some of whom grew up in CBF churches and others who discovered CBF while in seminary or divinity school. This past academic year, we awarded scholarships to 46 students from 12 schools, totaling $184,000, with an additional $50,000 to support student participation at General Assembly or other fellowship events. Absolutely. The Daniel and Arlene Vestal's Leadership Scholarship is awarded annually to 2 students that demonstrate particular giftedness for academic work and congregational leadership. This scholarship contributes $11,000 to their schooling and an additional $1,500 to attend fellowship events. The CBF Foundation stewards the Vestal Scholarship Fund, and you can invest in future ministers for our fellowship. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's Vestal Scholars, Emily Maples and Miguel Ashley Hernandez Urbanea.
In 2011, the Daniel and Erlene Vestal Scholarship was established to support CBF's continued emphasis on theological education and the local congregation. The Vestal Scholarship is CBF's highest award, valued at $11,000 with an additional $1,500 travel stipend for attending CBF events throughout the academic year. Meet this year's scholarship winners, Miguel Ashley Hernandez Urbaneja and Emily Maples.
I am originally from Venezuela because of the situation in my country. In Peru, I got a scholarship to come to the US, the Fulbright Scholarship. So I did my master in social media at Georgia State University. And then I found a Baptist church here in Duluth, in Georgia. And then the pastor, Pastor Caroline Smith, I started to talk to her about my childhood, when I was a teenager, and everything. And I thought like, wow. He asked me, why are you not going to seminary? And I thought, seminary? I was like, I don't know about it because, I have been in school a lot of time. I have been, working. To be honest, I didn't think about seminary. I felt this is the moment I need to go to seminary. And I said yes to the call. Going to seminary is very challenging, especially because you are deconstructing your own theology. being an immigrant, being a queer person, being Latino, I think it has become even more difficult recently. So I think that also is a challenge in ministry. When there is someone who doesn't fit in the standards that some people have, I think that is very challenging. However, I feel capable to overcome the challenges. The Vestal Scholarship will help me a lot to buy my books for the semester, for my transportation needs.
I'm a composer, arranger, a lifelong learner, and a passionate advocate for radical inclusion within the church. I began seminary in 2020 after 20 years of part-time ministry and felt called to deepen my theological grounding and embrace a more expansive, justice-oriented vision of God's kingdom, or as I've come to call it, God's kingdom. My call to ministry came vividly on the last night of a youth chapel choir tour to Minnesota in 1994 with Broadway Baptist Church's chapel choir. I was just 15 years old. That moment separated me from simply following in my minister parents' footsteps. It solidified my own sense of calling from God. Seminary didn't give me all the answers. It gave me deeper, more thought-provoking questions. I used to think that God's mystery needed solving, but now I see that the theological questioning and the mystery itself is sacred. Theological education has reoriented me from certainty to wonder, and from doctrine to embodied, liberating love. But prior to my theological training and education, I would often suppress my deepest convictions. Their mentorship has shaped me, not just in what I believe, but how I live out my call. The Vestal Scholarship has been such a gift to me, not only in easing the financial burdens of theological education, but in affirming my call to ministry in a deeply personal way. As an ordained woman within the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, the scholarship is so much more than just support. It's a declaration and affirmation that my gifts, my leadership, and my voice matter.
Gracias CBF por esta gran oportunidad y sobre todo por seguir apostando en los líderes del futuro.
Congratulations to our 2025 CBF Vestal Scholars, Miguel Ashley Hernandez Urbaneja and Emily Maples.
Emily, the Daniel and Earlene Vestal Scholarship is presented in recognition of academic achievement, leadership excellence, and commitment to congregational ministry on this 26th day of June 2025 on behalf of the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. Congratulations. And Miguel, the Daniel and Earlene Vestal Scholarship was presented in recognition of academic achievement, leadership excellence, and a commitment to congregational ministries this 26th day of June 2025 on behalf of the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. Congratulations.
Friends, on the CBF website, you'll find the phrase, "Together for God's transformation." That's more than a phrase. It's the heartbeat of who we are. It speaks to our shared calling to join God in renewing the world. Within our fellowship, the Ministries Council helps carry that calling forward. We're a group of ministers, lay leaders, and partners, just like many of you, who are passionate about discovering and sharing the gifts already present in our churches and communities. Our task is simple but sacred: to identify, develop, and deploy the assets of the fellowship, and to empower networks for shared ministry. One of the ways we do this is through the Ministries Grant Program. Each year, we get to witness the creativity and commitment of congregations and partners doing transformational work where they've been planted. And this year, in the spirit of CBF's Year of Inviting, we focused on ministries that cultivate belonging. Today, on behalf of the Ministries Council, I am honored to announce this year's grant recipients, $20,000 in total, being awarded to congregations whose work invites people in and makes room for grace. Watch them as we celebrate together.
The CBF Ministries Council is pleased to recognize Second Baptist Church, Tabernacle Baptist Church, College Park Baptist Church, First Baptist Church of Salata, and Emmanuel Baptist Church as the 2025 Ministries Council grant recipients. They embody the actions of Jesus and demonstrate that ministry can be both innovative and executed with excellence. Second Baptist Church in Liberty, Missouri will use their grant to fund a program for individuals, persons, or people with intellectual disabilities in their community. Be you and belong. With a dedicated group of church members, Second Baptist has already walked alongside many in their life journey. With concerns over a reduction in government funds toward programs that currently support people with disabilities, Second Baptist is stepping in to make sure some form of these services continue. They will provide socialization days with arts and crafts, field trips, life skills classes, physical fitness, and spiritual formation opportunities, as well as meals for the adults who utilize their program. They are planning a leadership team that will allow participants to shape ideas for activities that appeal to them. Tabernacle Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia received a grant to expand their community food pantry and clothes closet ministries by providing translation devices to better facilitate belonging and relationships. As the number of immigrants and non-English speakers has increased, the church's focus on creating intentional relationships and honoring dignity has become more difficult. Their food program sees neighbors serving neighbors over a shared breakfast before shopping in the food pantry. Non-English speakers haven't been able to fully share in the praying for families, making new friends, and being community to everyone present. With new translation devices, they will be able to have true conversations of mutual care rather than muddling with gestures and transactional exchanges. College Park Baptist Church in Greensboro, North Carolina will use their grant to expand their current ministries for youth, children, and families focusing on mental health and spirituality. Through partnerships with local colleges and health facilities, they have brought in therapists, educators, lawyers, elected officials, and activists for conversations that parents were requesting around raising children in a post-pandemic world with rising rates of mental health concerns and a diversifying world of sexual and gender identity. Many questions parents had stretched beyond pastoral care and needed input from experts in other fields. By creating parent circles, their program has allowed overwhelmed mental health professionals and families seeking care to support one another without months-long waiting lists for individual appointments. These meetings allow parents time to ask questions and offer opportunities for unchurched parents to reconnect with faith. First Baptist Church of Salata in Garabo, Puerto Rico is receiving a grant to expand their current ministries to older adults. Their community has a high number of seniors who rely on some type of government assistance to make ends meet. Following Hurricane Maria, many adult children migrated to the U.S., leaving elderly adults living alone with fewer family members to rely on for support. They plan to offer physical activities to maintain health, education sessions on personal finances, using technology, self-care and emotional empowerment workshops, and assistance in applying for or navigating the confusing requirements and documents needed to keep receiving their government assistance. Emmanuel Baptist Church in Paducah, Kentucky will use their grant to start a new ministry, the Lemonade Brigade. They will visit local parks, service organizations, shelters, and other places where children gather to serve lemonade and play together. They will launch a wandering book club for elementary students focused on bringing together children outside of church to read, serve, and play together. Emmanuel has spent time asking, how do we spread our resources out into the community when so many have negative experiences with church these days. They also recognize the difficulty many of us face today in engaging with others and inviting new people to be welcome and belong. CBF congratulates the 2025 Ministries Council grant recipients. May your work continue to invite in our neighbors, equip people to spread the hope of Christ, and transform the lives of everyone in your communities.
Isn't it incredible what God is doing through the fellowship? As we celebrate these grantees, we offer a holy invitation. What is God calling you to imagine? May the stories we've heard today stir something on the inside of you to apply. The Ministries Council believes that if God gave you the dream, God will also give you the grace to carry it out. So be bold and apply for the 25-26 grant cycle beginning August the 1st. We hope your congregation will consider applying so we can keep building the beloved community together. Please join me again in celebrating all of this year's grant recipients.
Each year, the CBF Global Missions Council receives nominations for churches that are doing exceptional ministry in their community and around the world. The Missions Committee then selects a handful of churches to highlight and award with Mission Excellence Awards. This year's recipients have shown outstanding service, creativity, deep partnerships, and commitment to CBF. We are delighted to present them to you today through a video presentation.
Led by the love of Christ, the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship invites churches and individuals to partner in transforming God's world, working together as a global community to spread good news, justice, and hope through impactful ministries, missions, and resources. The CBF Missions Council is proud to announce the winners of this year's Mission Excellence Award, who exemplify these characteristics. First Baptist Church, Jefferson City, Missouri's history with missions runs deep. A fire in 1987 could have seen them leave downtown, but they remained committed to being a presence to their neighbors. They've partnered with a church in Kenya for 20 years, making sure to work together face-to-face at least once a year, and have worked alongside many CBF ministries across the U.S. throughout their history. After working through the mission assessment offered by CBF Global Missions, FBCJC narrowed their focus to engage more deeply with fewer numbers of covenant relationships, focused on people who are unhoused and affordable housing, complementing their existing work as a host for unhoused individuals on cold nights. They looked at a grant model, signing covenants with 2 additional organizations working in the area of housing in their city, promising a 3-year commitment to work alongside them and a $50,000 financial gift. Trinity Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina. Trinity is an encourager church, partnering with CBF field personnel Kim Wyatt and Welcome House Raleigh. They help refugees and immigrants with housing and apartment furnishings upon arrival. They also invite the children of all Welcome House families to their VBS each summer, providing transportation and dinner every evening. Trinity also works each year with Together for Hope in McCreary County, Kentucky, visiting multiple times per year to offer children's programming, to repair homes, and provide a community-wide Thanksgiving feast. Woodland Church in San Antonio, Texas, centers their missions work around advocacy. They provide English as second language programs and a center that assists immigrants in resettlement and provides legal advice. They partner with CBF field personnel Elket Rodriguez as an encourager church. Elket focuses on the U.S.-Mexico border and immigration issues. Woodland makes regular education trips to the border to learn more and make a difference. Each experience on the border sees members return with new ideas and ways to connect with immigrant neighbors in San Antonio as well. They are also an encourager church, working alongside CBF field personnel Jeff and Alicia Lee in Macedonia. Woodland is also committed to being a driver of environmental stewardship in their community, with a ministry devoted to pushing them to make changes that help sustain our shared planet. They tie these two ministries together, recognizing the impact climate change is having on some countries, displacing the poorest of the poor, and increasing the number of global migrants. First Baptist Church in Asheville, North Carolina, became good news to their community after Hurricane Helene's devastating floods decimated their community in 2024. FBC Asheville became a community resource hub, receiving donations from 33 states and fresh daily food donations from a grocery store. They distributed free gasoline, food, water, baby items, clothing, and emergency supplies to over 6,500 people who came through their doors, and delivered more items to low-income communities. That was just in the gym. FBC Asheville's abundance of donations was shared with 2 local restaurants who served free meals in their community. The parking lot hosted nonprofit organizations who distributed thousands of meals, food boxes, and provided more than 400 showers and a laundry trailer. FBC did all of this while their own members needed help recovering. They hosted weekly volunteer work teams and established a relief fund that has awarded $72,000 for disaster recovery and counseling efforts in Asheville. They continue to host work teams twice monthly and plan to do so for the foreseeable future. CBF is proud to highlight the work these churches and individuals do to partner in transforming God's world, working together as a global community to spread good news, justice, and hope through impactful ministries, missions, and resources.
Our first recipient of a Mission Excellence Award is First Baptist Church, Jefferson City, Missouri, and the award is being received by lead pastor, Reverend Melissa Hetfield. Our second recipient of a Mission Excellence Award is Trinity Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the award is being received by Senior Pastor Jeff Roberts. Our third recipient of a Mission Excellence Award is Woodland Church in San Antonio, Texas, and the award is being received by Lance Mays, Associate Pastor of Community Engagement, accompanied by Garrett Vickery, Senior Pastor, Diana Bridges, ESL Director, and Jana Atkinson Morger, Student Minister. Our fourth recipient is First Baptist Church in Asheville, North Carolina. The award is being received by Coordinating Pastor Casey Callahan and Chair of Missions Council Cindy DeGrave. CBF is grateful to partner with such dynamic churches like these, as well as yours. Let's give these churches a round of applause.
Student Serve provides summer and semester-long internship opportunities for young adults 18 or older in the United States and throughout the world. Internships are with diverse ministries within congregations and their communities, as well as serving alongside our field personnel in the United States and across the globe. All of these individuals here display integrity and are faithful stewards of resources. They speak truth in love, embrace accountability, facilitate fairness, and are supportive of their peers, as well as being committed to establishing collaborative relationships. These young adults serve as co-laborers with the Holy Spirit in God's mission, striving to be Christ-like, innovative, authentic, globally focused, committed to hearing and respecting diverse perspectives, and to pursuing excellence. This year, they are serving in the areas of student ministry, community engagement, communications and social media, pastoral ministry, development and operations, missions, and translators, among others. This year, we would like to bless our 13 interns. They are represented by these 6, as others have either traveled to their service locations, are engaged in ministry, or have completed service and are not able to be present. Would you please join me now in a prayer of blessing over these students? Oh God, we give you thanks for having gathered your sons and daughters and awakened in their hearts and souls curiosity to seek you in the other. May our voices reflect your whisper of abundant love as we send them to the east, north, south, and west to be your feet of peace. May your holy name be glorified in all they do. Amen.
Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. It is a joy to stand before you today as we gather to celebrate the incredible ways God has worked through Cooperative Baptist Fellowship's global mission efforts and the faithful servants who have answered his call. From the very beginning, CBF has encouraged the establishment of 501c3 entities by our global mission field personnel. These organizations were envisioned as a way to enhance strategic capacity and open doors to places where traditional mission approaches might face challenges. What began as seeds of faith and innovation have flourished into reputable independent organizations with comprehensive programming that extend the impact of CBF-supported ministries in ways we could not have imagined when they were first founded. Rather than seeing these entities as competitors for resources, CBF has chosen to embrace and champion their growth, recognizing them as vital partners in our shared mission to bring hope, healing, and the love of Christ to a broken world. We call these organizations engagement partners. What unites all of our engagement partners is their independence as nonprofit organizations, or NGOs, and their shared commitment to responding to God's call in creative and impactful ways. Many of these organizations were born organically in response to specific needs encouraged in the field, while others have joined us through shared vision and collaboration. Some of these partnerships are relatively new, while others are what we call legacy partners, reflecting long-standing relationships that date back to their founding. Today, we pause to honor and celebrate 4 remarkable engagement partners that have reached significant milestones in their journeys of faith and service. First, Touching Miami with Love, we celebrate one of our legacy partners. TML was founded by former field personnel Nell and Butch Green and further developed by global mission leaders like Jason and Angel Pittman and Stephen Porter. The ministry grew through the prayerful support of CBF Florida and Miami congregations such as Central Baptist Church. Today, TML operates as an independent, freestanding ministry while maintaining a vital partnership with CBF and its constituents. Under the leadership of Trina Harris, their current CEO, since 2022, TML continues to transform lives in Miami's most vulnerable communities. As we celebrate 30 years of mission-driven ministry, we give thanks for the faithful service of all who have contributed to this incredible legacy. We bless you with 2 Thessalonians 3:5. May the Lord direct your hearts into God's love and Christ's perseverance. Second, Lucha Ministries, represented here by Sue Smith and Keith Park. Developed by Sue and Greg Smith, field personnel, Lucha has been serving the Latino community in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and nearby towns for the past 20+1 years. Since 2004, advocacy and legal support have been at its core, as well as attending the community needs, providing food, transportation, and translation services, among others. Thousands of Latinos and Latinas have been blessed as volunteers have become the hands and feet of Christ and walk alongside them. CBF Virginia, Fredericksburg Baptist Church, as well as other organizations and congregations have been joining Lucha in El Camino, in the journey. They have outlived Leviticus 19:34. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. The third organization, Eastern North Carolina Poverty Network, represented here by Ann and LaCount Anderson. We celebrate the Eastern North Carolina Poverty Network, founded by field personnel Anna and LaCount Anderson in 2013, for 10+2 years. This ministry has been a beacon of hope and transformation in Eastern North Carolina, addressing systemic poverty and offering tangible support to those in need. Proverbs 28:27. Those who gave to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them receive many curses. Fourth but not least, Grace and Main Urban Farm, represented here by Jessica and Josh Hearns. Finally, we honor Grace and Main Urban Farm, a food security ministry established by field personnel Jessica and Joshua Hearn in collaboration with local leaders in Danville, Virginia. This ministry uses environmentally safe and low-cost farming methods to address food insecurity while empowering Danville neighbors, those directly impacted by hunger, to take the lead in shaping decisions that benefit the entire community. Over the past 10 years, this ministry has touched hundreds of lives, embodying the words of Christ in Matthew 25:35, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat." while Dane helps me. As we reflect on these milestones, let us remember that these ministries are not just organizations. They are the embodiment of God's love in action. They are the result of faithful servants responding to God's call, often in challenging circumstances, and trusting Him to multiply their efforts. So today, let us celebrate the faithfulness of these servants and the transformative impact of these ministries. Let us give thanks for all that God has done through them and commit ourselves anew to supporting their work as they continue to bring hope, healing, and the gospel to those in need. Please join me in honoring these remarkable ministries and the people who lead them. Together, let us celebrate their past accomplishments and look forward with hope to the many ways God will continue to use them in the years to come. At this time, I would like to ask our retiring field personnel to please come to the stage. Today, we also gather to honor and celebrate the journeys of 13 faithful servants who have concluded their formal service with CBF Global Missions. These remarkable individuals have dedicated decades of their lives to answering God's call, serving with tireless devotion across the United States, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Through transformational ministries, they have impacted thousands of lives. But beyond the programs and initiatives, their work has been a vessel for something far greater, the love of God revealed through Jesus Christ. Their lives have been living testimonies of faith, hope, and grace, shining brightly in some of the most challenging and complex places on earth. Today, we pause to celebrate their faithfulness, their sacrifices, and their unwavering trust in the one who called them to serve. Each of these field personnel received their call from God at different moments in their personal and faith journeys. Some may have heard the call in a quiet moment of prayer, others through the encouragement of a mentor, and still others in the midst of witnessing the deep needs of the world. But no matter how their call came, each one responded with a resounding, "Yes, Lord." They stepped out in faith, leaving behind their familiar and embracing the unknown. They chose to walk alongside those affected by migration, poverty, and countless other challenges, bringing light to places of hardships and hope to those who had nearly lost it. Please join me as we recognize and celebrate these 13 faithful servants. Anna Anderson, raise your hand. Steve Clark, Lynn Hutchinson, Jenny Jenkins, Karen Morrow, Mary Van Reenen, Cindy Rubble, Sue Smith, and Mark Wyatt. We excuse Maha Bulos, Shawi Bolos, Mary Hoff, and Greg Smith, who could not be here. But if you notice, there are others that are standing right here as well. And we want to recognize former field personnel LaCount Anderson who since 2017 have continued to work alongside Anne. Keith Holmes, that supposedly retired in 2021, but have continued to work alongside Mary. And also Macarena Aldape, who retired in 2023, but have continued to work alongside our friend Eddie Aldape in Spain. We also would like to acknowledge two of ours that retired in 2023 and were not able to be here this year, Mike Hutchinson, Lynn's husband, and also Nell Green. Please recognize them as well. Each name represents a story of courage, perseverance, and faithfulness. Each name represents countless prayers, countless hours of service, and countless lives touched by the love of Christ. Each name represents the support of CBF individuals and churches like you that have joined them in the field. These 13 plus 5 individuals have not only served faithfully, but have also incarnated our mission distinctives in profound ways. They have borne witness to Jesus Christ through their actions and words, embodying his love in every interaction. By cultivating the beloved community, they have fostered relationships that transcend cultural and social barriers, creating spaces of acceptance and belonging. Furthermore, their commitment to seeking transformational development has empowered communities addressing root causes of injustice and inequality. Their lives reflect a holistic approach to ministry that aligns with our core values, reminding us of the impact that faithful service can have in the world. Though they are retiring from formal work with the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, their ministries are far from over. Many of them will continue to serve through local partnerships, new opportunities, and divine appointments that God has already prepared for them, even if they don't know it yet. Some have even been lovingly referred as rhinos, retired in name only, because their passion for God's mission cannot be contained by titles or roles. They will continue to live out their calling just as they always have, with open hearts and willing hands. As we celebrate their journeys, let us also reflect on the faithfulness that has carried them through. These 13 plus 5 individuals have served in the midst of immense challenges: cultural barriers, language differences, political instability, personal and family sacrifices. Yet through it all, they kept their eyes fixed on Jesus. They have shown us what it means to trust God fully, to love others unconditionally, and to serve with humility and grace. Their lives are a testament to the power of faithfulness, and their legacy will continue to inspire us all. So today we invite the entire CBF family to join us in celebrating these journeys of faithfulness. Let us give thanks for the obedience to God's call, their dedication to the mission, and their unwavering commitment to sharing God's love with the world. Let us also commit ourselves to carrying forward the torch they have borne so faithfully. May their example inspire us to listen for God's call in our own lives and to respond with the same courage and faithfulness. As we close this time of recognition, let us pray together, and I will ask if you're able to please stand. And if possible, extend your hands towards them. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the lives and ministries of these faithful servants. We thank you for the ways they have answered your call, for the lives they have touched, and for the love they have shared in your name. We pray your blessing upon them as they enter this new season of life. May they find rest and renewal. May they continue to experience the joy of serving you in new and meaningful ways. Lord, as they have been faithful to you, may we also be faithful. May their example inspire us to live boldly for you, to love deeply, and to serve you with humility and grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You may be seated. But now something very, very meaningful. Kathy and T. Thomas, our first commissioned missionaries, will place the stalls on our retiring field personnel. Stalls provided by the off-ramp ministry led by Nell Green, Emeritus Field Personnel, in collaboration with Refuge and Hope, one of the many ministries led by our field personnel, Jade and Sheila Acker, in Uganda. Refuge and Hope helps refugees and displaced people rebuild their lives in Kampala. One of the ways they are accomplishing this is through a sewing program called Sewing for Hope. And they were the ones that made these stalls for our retired field personnel. I thank you, Anna, LaCount, Steve, Lynn, Jenny, Karen, Mary, Cindy, Sue, and Greg, Mark, Macarena, Keith, for your faithfulness, your courage, and your love. You have shown us what it means to live a life of service to God, and we are forever grateful. May God bless you richly in this next chapter of your journey. You will always be part of the CBF family. And now, I officially declare you Emeritus Field Personnel.
The Cooperative Baptist Fellowship is proud to present this year's Carl Hart Award for Excellence in Chaplaincy and Pastoral Counseling Ministry to the Reverend Dr. Cecilia Ann Walker. The Carl Hart Award is presented annually to a CBF-endorsed chaplain or pastoral counselor who exemplifies excellence in ministry in a specialized setting. Winners are nominated by a CBF-endorsed chaplain or pastoral counselor and chosen by the CBF Council on Endorsement. Cecilia comes from a family of ministers, though during her childhood, she had never experienced a woman in ministry when she felt God calling her into ministry. Attending seminary while maintaining her job as the first African American to hold a full-time position at the Birmingham Public Library, Avondale, she discerned her specific call to chaplaincy near the end of her time at Beeson Divinity School, after her experiences with a compassionate chaplain at the time of her husband's death. Needing safety, comfort, a safe place to pray, be angry, or grieve is what Cecilia experienced from this chaplain, which set her on the path to become one herself. Years of ministry have seen Reverend Dr. Walker step up to lead as the Executive Director of Chaplaincy and Clinical Pastoral Education at Brookwood Baptist Health System in Birmingham, Alabama. She has cultivated the next generation of chaplains and chaplain educators, She is an advocate for ACPE chaplain communities of practice, strengthening local city, state, and regional fellowships of chaplains to support one another in ministry. She was recently named Beeson Divinity School's Alumna of the Year and was elected to the Board of Trustees of her alma mater, Samford University. In 2024, Cecilia was elected as the 30th president of the Association of Clinical Pastoral Education. Cecilia has also served with CBF leadership, serving 2 terms on the CBF Council on Endorsement, and is currently serving on the Ministries Council for CBF Global and the Alabama CBF Coordinating Council. Following in the footsteps of her uncles and grandfathers as Baptist pastors, Cecilia has served as associate pastor at Trinity Baptist Church and is currently serving as the associate minister at Greater Shiloh Baptist Church, both in Birmingham. Her love of God, service, and humanity is evident in all she does. She reflects, "Although I don't think I will ever understand the why of some of my losses, using my experience with disorienting life events is a way that I make what I have been through useful. I feel honored that God has called me to journey with patients and students in such meaningful and significant ways. I consider the very complicated and personal things that are shared with me to be sacred." Please join us in welcoming the 2025 recipient of the Carl Hart Award for Excellence in Chaplaincy and Pastoral Counseling Ministry, the Reverend Dr. Cecilia Ann Walker.
Cecilia, we honor your dedicated and sacred service as a CBF endorsed chaplain. You have shown compassionate care for patients, families, and hospital staff. Through your calling, you have trained, mentored, and coached chaplaincy students and provided leadership in the field of professional chaplaincy. I am honored to represent our CBF Council on Endorsement in presenting to you the 2025 Carl Hart Award for Excellence in Chaplaincy and Pastoral Care Ministries.
My name is Elijah Brown. I'm the General Secretary and CEO of the Baptist World Alliance. CBF, I wish I could be there with you, but I'm actually in Australia, where in just a few days we'll be hosting the next Baptist World Congress. At CBF, I wanted to take just a moment. I wanted to say thank you. Earlier this year, Dr. Baxley and I had the opportunity to attend the funeral service for President Jimmy Carter, and it was so good to hear again at the national level a Baptist voice pressing for peace and the well-being of every community. A few weeks ago, it was a joy to travel together with Reverend Casey Jones to the United Nations, where we advocated together on behalf of racial justice. And in this year, CBF, you have been at the forefront of working on behalf of religious freedom for all in the United States, for the care of refugees, and for gospel justice in our country. Thank you. Please continue to lift up your voice here in the United States and all around the world, as 25% of all BWA Baptists live in a context of war, persecution, and extreme hunger. Now, I want to end with a short story. Earlier this year, a cyclone swept through Madagascar and tragically destroyed a number of homes as well as 3 Baptist churches. And I uploaded that onto social media and encouraged people to pray for our Baptist brothers and sisters in Madagascar. But within minutes, some Baptist churches in Ukraine had contacted us, and they'd said, what would it take to help rebuild the Baptist churches in Madagascar. They went on to say, those of us in Ukraine, we know what it is like to have our churches destroyed. And in the time of need in Madagascar, we want to be one family who stands together with them and helps them rebuild. And that's exactly what's happened. What if all of us in times of incredible need stood together to help people rebuild? In the Babylons of this world, we are to live as dissident disciples with joy as we hold on to the truth of Revelation chapter 11, that the kingdom of this world will become the kingdom of our Lord and Messiah, and He will reign forever and ever. CBF, thank you for all that you are doing. Let us continue to live with gospel witness as we proclaim in hope the truth that the wounds of Jesus are deep enough to heal the wounds of this world. God bless you.
Good morning, CBF family. My name is Rob Fox. I'm honored to serve as the president of Church Benefits Board. Our mission is to serve ministers, lay employees, field personnel, churches, and nonprofits with retirement and insurance benefits. Another way to say that is your benefits are our ministry. Our CBB team is thrilled to be here today in St. Louis, Missouri, under the arch, as we consider what it means to belong here from Ephesians 2. Because a sense of belonging denotes a sense of community, of working together for the common good, and of holding out hope for a future together. We at CBB find our hope in each of you, the community of ministers and lay leaders that belong to the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. And allow me, if you will, to share 3 examples with you here today. First, we find hope in a new generation of ministers and church staff. Did you know that a majority of new churches who enroll with Church Benefits Board, they come recommended from an early career minister? That's right. It is the young ministers that are leading the way to CBB. They're asking insightful questions. They're building their financial plans. They're taking advantage of the many incentives and the offerings that we have through our Financial Wellness Initiative program. In other words, CBB is growing stronger and younger, and our participants have a plan that is built for the long term. Second, we find hope in courageous churches that are breaking away from the old and they are embracing what is new. Just a few months ago, I received an email from a longtime friend and pastor who said to me, I'll paraphrase for you here, he said, Rob, our church is interested in joining up with CBB, but I need to confess that our benefits are still with, well, you know who. But we are now fresher faced, and we are eager to shift from this last artifact of our church's denominational past. And this pastor said, I'm also proud to say that we have church members that are insisting upon it. Well, it's pretty impressive, right? But I gotta tell you, it is not unusual. This is not unique. Last year alone, we had almost $9 million in assets under management roll from other church plans to Church Benefits Board. So folks, we are approaching a tipping point. With, as of today, over $157 million in assets under management, churches are realizing, ministers are realizing they've got better options to belong to. And not only are they exploring those options, but their churches are insisting upon it. Let me be clear. The lights are coming on for clergy and lay leaders, and now churches and nonprofits, they've got better options for retirement and insurance benefits. Thank you. And that option is Church Benefits Board. And third, and finally, we find hope, as we've celebrated here, in those who are retiring well and who will continue to learn and serve. Did you know it's only about 17% of participants in our CBB retirement plan that are retired? Our retired participants remind us that their purpose does not end with their paycheck. It deepens at that point. At CBB, we're strengthening resources to prepare participants for retirement and what we call pre-retirement so they can answer the call of God in all seasons of ministry. Because those that finish well, they light a path of hope for the rest of us, don't they? Their lives are a living witness to the faithfulness and service of lifelong calling. That hope endures and grows. It inspires every chapter. And as Laura told us, they call them rhinos. And I got to my booth this morning, and the field personnel put up here, retirement is sweet. So may we find hope in this work together, because our hope is in you. Thanks be to God that we have the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship because we all belong to this community. And thank you for allowing Church Benefits Board the opportunity to serve you and your churches and your ministries. And let me conclude today by offering up some words of hope from some new and some longtime CBB participants.
My hope for the future of CBB is that more people will realize what a great opportunity they have to invest with friends, people of similar values, and get a great investment, great return on their money, and be able to do that with people they feel good about.
We want to serve more churches so we can offer more offerings. And we really want to focus upon what I call the professionalization of clergy. We would love to see kind of a best practices, standards of compensation, those pieces, so that churches can recruit and retain the best talent.
I hope CBB can open its doors to all those who need it. I know so many ministers that are looking to find a home and looking to find a place that they find safety in and find peace and comfort in knowing that they're in good hands.
The better that CBB gets to know me and others like me, the better they can serve me, so that is my hope.
I think our hope for CBB is that it continues to develop new practices and methods that equips our generation of ministers as well as the future of CBF ministers and field personnel.
They've taken care of me. They are taking care of me and my wife. I want them to be able to take good care of who all is coming after me.
Good morning, fellowship family. I think you all know that it takes a lot of heart and hard work to prepare for this annual gathering. So if you're fortunate enough this week to run into Carrie Harris, I hope you will stop her and take the time to thank her, because she is the queen organizer of the General Assembly. One of the preparatory activities that Carrie had us do was to respond to the question of what belonging in CBF feels like to us. And my response to that prompt was this: belonging in CBF feels like sitting around a fire, laughing and chatting with old and new friends. Because while the world can feel really cold and unsafe these days, CBF brings the warmth of God's presence and the welcoming arms of the Holy Spirit. Needless to say, it's been really good for my heart to connect with my CBF family this week. It is a gift that I do not take for granted. There is a Chinese proverb that goes like this: 水地石穿不是力量大，而是功夫深. Water can wear away the hardest stone, not because of its strength, but because of its persistence. As I reflect on these past years serving as the president of CBF Foundation, this proverb has been the theme of the work of the foundation. When our Board of Trustees made the bold move to eliminate the management fees of all church accounts back in 2022, we had our doubts and our fears, but we were also compelled to take that bold, faithful step. Ultimately, it is the mission of CBF Foundation to support the financial well-being of our congregations, and we chose to let the clarity of our mission lead us. I'm humbled to be able to share with you today that since the launch of the no-fee model for churches on June 1, 2022, 57 new accounts have been added with $14.3 million in new assets. And an additional $7.2 million was added to existing accounts. Since then, 13 new churches have entered into partnership with the foundation, and 12 new irrevocable funds have been created with additions totaling $12.3 million. As it currently stands, the elimination of our management fees means that over $206,000 is going right back into the pockets of our churches each year to make a gospel impact in their local communities and beyond. Yes, this thus means slower growth for CBF Foundation as an organization. But back to the proverb reminding us that making an impact is a long game. I am deeply grateful for your generosity, for the trust that you have put into the foundation to be good stewards of the resources God has given you. One of the greatest joys of the work of the CBF Foundation is supporting our local churches to navigate the changing landscape of religious giving. And let's be honest, change is not exactly something that churches do well. However, with the reality of our current trends, of what current trends tell us, such as that less than half of American households give anything at all to charity. And while religion continues to be the #1 destination for people's charitable gifts, that portion that goes to religion is decreasing over the years, and especially when adjusted for inflation. We can no longer stick our heads in the sand and do things the same old way. The good news is that we are seeing evidence of churches across our fellowship who are open and willing to engage in new ways of cultivating generosity and new ways of thinking about their budget. Close to 100 churches have participated in the Cultivating Generous Congregations cohort since its launch in 2022, a program done in partnership with the Lake Institute on Faith and Giving, to equip our churches with the tools they need to change the culture of giving and stewardship that are data-driven. One such church who is reaping the benefits of what they learned from the cohort is Johns Creek Baptist Church. Their pastor, Dr. Sean King, says it well. Quote, "We wanted to explore a broader conversation around stewardship development, seeking to learn best practices outside of our system. We recognize that all genuine learning begins with unlearning what previous best practices may have served well, but perhaps have outlived their effectiveness," unquote. Taking all they have learned from the cohort and customizing it to their congregation's needs, Johns Creek launched an impact campaign that invites generosity of their members, not just of their financial resources, but their whole being, through the lens of impact. While I don't have the time today to tell you the full story here, I hope this serves as a teaser for you to read about Johns Creek Baptist Church's inspiring journey in our upcoming fellowship magazine. You see, changing culture is never easy, but I have no doubt that Johns Creek's persistence will bear good fruits. There are so many other churches I know who are intentionally and consistently implementing changes within their congregations that will eventually lead to a much healthier culture of giving and stewardship. Resourcing God's work in this world is a long game, and it is not for the faint of heart, especially in these uncertain times. It calls for our persistence, our imagination, our intentionality, and the practice of generosity as part of discipleship. The good news is we do not walk alone. The challenges ahead are real, but so is God's persistent love for all of God's children. Friends, CBF Foundation is committed to walking alongside you and your churches to help you invest your treasures where God's heart is, which has been and continues to be God's love for this world. Together, drop by drop, droplets of generosity of all sizes, we, our fellowship family, can make a path even through the hardest stone.
Our church is a proudly historic downtown Baptist church located in the heart of Carrollton, Georgia, which has a wonderful 176-year history, but an even brighter future. Our mission is to reach our community, our state, our nation, and our world with the hope and the gospel of Jesus Christ. We do that in various ways. We have a catalog of dozens of local organizations which we support directly with volunteers, financially, or with materials that we collect and we donate to them. We had a unique opportunity with a large sum of money that our church received through the sale of a building. And the question after that was, well, who is going to partner with us to help us with management of the money? We interviewed private partners, we interviewed local partners, and we also interviewed CBF Foundation. And it was the heart and mind of every single person who was around that table making the decision that CBF Foundations shared richly with what our church's goals were and had a pathway for how our monies could go forward to continue to help impact real lives on an ongoing, never-ending basis. We find someone that's not telling our church what to do. They're saying, what are your hopes? What are your dreams? How can we partner with that? How can we make that come true? We're funding years of mission and ministry far beyond any one lifetime, and that's a beautiful thing. My prayer for CBF Foundation is that it only continue to grow so that, like us, they can bless current and future generations with opportunities to go and be about the mission and ministry of Jesus Christ and bring back stories that are going to infuse that local church with vitality, with new imaginative possibilities, and always with a deeper relationship with Christ.
The General Assembly will now take up the business items requiring votes by the General Assembly. Those business items are the adoption of the budget, the nominating committee report, and the governing board recommendations. Registrants in the Assembly Hall who wish to speak to any motion will need to make their way to one of the two floor microphones to seek recognition. When recognized by the moderator, please give your name and the church you are from. Voting will be by voice vote on the motions, unless the moderator determines a standing vote is necessary. The first item of business is the presentation of the 2025-2026 CBF Ministry and Mission Budget. The moderator recognized Alan Reddit for presentation of the budget and to move its adoption. The 2025-2026 Ministry and Missions budget has been provided to the General Assembly and is being displayed on the screens.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Hello, fellowship. The work of the Finance Committee this year has continued last year's theme of transition. Last year's transition of Capon Krause from auditor to contract CFO in the person of Dave Gunner meant this year would hold the search for a new auditor. We conducted a national search that resulted in the selection of DMLO of Louisville, Kentucky as our new auditor. The Finance Committee is delighted that next year will be the first full year in which all our financial leaders will serve an entire year together. We're pleased to share the budget that is before you today and was presented in detail in yesterday afternoon's business breakout session. The biggest news is that the budget before you is a balanced budget. The largest changes therein are related to the global missions retirements that were announced several months ago and whose personnel we continue to celebrate in this service and beyond. You will note those changes are reflected in both the salary and programming lines of the budget. With many thanks to our COO, Jeff Hewitt, please take a look at some of the other stories behind the budget lines before you.
Led by the love of Christ, the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship invites churches and individuals to partner in transforming God's world, working together as a global community to spread good news, justice, and hope through impactful ministries, missions, and resources. Our advocacy efforts protect CBF churches as secure locations following a court order that blocked ICE enforcement within CBF houses of worship, effectively restoring the sensitive location policy previously in place. Our young Baptists received 47 scholarships from CBF to 16 different seminaries, totaling $202,000. 18 more young Baptists participated in Student Serve internships, and 15 First Call Fellows partnered with experienced ministers for coaching and group learning. We even recorded 10,000 plus volunteer hours across 26 mission trips in 13 locations. The witness of more than 900 chaplains serving in all 50 states and in more than 10 countries continues to expand. We welcomed 17 new Encourager churches to walk alongside our field personnel serving across the globe. Global Missions served almost 14,000 people in disaster response and emergencies. 2,800 people were equipped through our empowerment and capacity building work. Health programs touched 800 lives, with mental health and pastoral care ministries reaching 650 more, and over 6,600 migrants were assisted through migration support and services. Thriving in Ministry continues to welcome new cohorts of ministers, including women from CBF's Pan-African Koinonia, Pastoras, Polyphony, mission ministers, multivocational ministers, women ministers, and racial justice, providing focused learning to complement our ongoing peer learning groups for leaders across the country. Each of these powerful ministries are included in the CBF Ministries and Mission budget that is presented each year at General Assembly. As we plan for the future, we're moving to a fiscal year running August through July to better anticipate what our needs will be for the following year. Thanks to the work of the CBF Governing Board and the Finance Committee for the development of this budget. Up for adoption today is the CBF Ministries and Mission budget for 2025 to 2026. This budget isn't just a financial document. It's a plan that highlights the priorities we've set as our fellowship spreads good news, justice, and hope through impactful ministries, missions, and resources.
For me personally, One of the most moving moments in my family this year came a few weeks ago when I heard the voice of Jay Keevy down the hall as my daughter sat at our dining room table watching CBF training videos to prepare her for her first mission trip with Global Mission personnel. For this reason, I'm delighted to point out the significant increase in this year's budget for growth in our fellowship, particularly in the personnel selection and student serve line as we identify and prepare the next generation of mission personnel. Mr. Moderator, in accordance with Bylaw 6.1.3, at the direction and on behalf of the Governing Board, I move the adoption of the 2025-26 Ministry and Missions budget of $16,084,521.
The motion coming from the Governing Board requires no second. Is there any further discussion on the motion for the adoption of the budget? There being no one seeking recognition to speak on the motion, we're ready to proceed with the vote. All those in favor of the adoption of the 2025-2026 Ministry and Mission budget will say aye. Aye. Those opposed to the adoption of the budget will say nay. The affirmative being in the majority, the 2025-2026 Ministry and Missions budget is adopted. Thank you. The moderator recognizes Randolph Parks to present the nominating committee report as submitted to the Governing Board.
Good morning, CBF family. Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the nominating committee and the Governing Board, I move the nominations of the persons named for moderator-elect, members of the Governing Board, Missions Council, Ministries Council, and Chair-elect of the Nominating Committee, and that the nominees be elected to the offices and for the terms set forth in the report.
The motion comes from the Committee on Board and does not require the second. The motion is on the adoption of the Nominating Committee report and the election of the nominees to the offices and for the terms set forth in the report. Unless there are any nominations from the floor, we're ready to proceed with the vote. There being no nomination from the floor, all those in favor of the adoption of the Nominating Committee report and the election of the persons named will say aye. Aye. Those opposed to the adoption of the Nominating Committee report will say nay. The affirmative being in the majority, the 2025-2026 Nominating Committee report is adopted, and the named nominees are elected to the positions and terms set forth in the report. Thank you. The moderator recognizes past moderator David Hall to present the Governing Board nominations for the Nominating Committee and recorder, members of the Council on Endorsement, trustees for the Church Benefit Board, and the CBF Foundation Board. The nominations to of the Governing Board have been provided electronically to the fellowship and are being displayed on the screen.
Mr. Moderator, on behalf of the Governing Board, I move the nomination of the persons named and that the nominees be elected to the offices and for the terms set forth in the report.
The motion comes from the Governing Board and does not require a second. The motion is on the adoption of the nominations made by the Governing Board and the election of the nominees to the offices and for the terms set forth in the report. If there are no nominations from the floor, we are now ready to proceed with the vote. There being no nomination from the floor, all those in favor of the adoption of the Governing Board nominations and the election of the persons named will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed to the adoption of the Governing Board nomination will say nay. The affirmative being in the majority, Governing Board nominations are adopted, and the named nominees are elected to the positions and the terms set forth in the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
No puedo creer que ya pasó un año. ¿Y qué año ha sido? Ha sido un año lleno de desafíos y a la vez de oportunidades para demostrar quiénes somos como compañerismo bautista cooperativo para un mundo que necesita la clase de testimonio cristiano que solamente nosotros estamos equipados para dar. Para mí ha sido un privilegio el poder servir este año como moderador y trabajar junto a nuestro coordinador ejecutivo durante una etapa sociopolítica tan compleja y desafiante como la que nos ha tocado vivir o la que estamos viviendo. Quiero dejarles saber lo orgulloso que me siento de pertenecer a esta familia de fe. Una familia de fe que valora a su personal de campo y los años de arduo trabajo dedicados a la causa del Evangelio. Una familia de fe que no teme asumir las decisiones difíciles e importantes que deben tomarse, pero que lo hace con amor, con gracia, con respeto y con dignidad, como una comunidad que coopera por el bien común. Quiero aprovechar la oportunidad para decirle a todo nuestro personal de campo, a los que se acogieron al programa de incentivo a la jubilación temprana, como a los que todavía continúan sirviendo, gracias. Gracias por responder al llamado de Dios. Gracias por su dedicación y por todos los años de servicio que han invertido en la proclamación del Evangelio de Jesucristo. Su presencia, su trabajo y el impacto que para el reino de Dios han tenido y están teniendo en nuestro mundo es nuestra mejor carta de presentación. Gracias. Quiero resaltar algo importante y valiente que hicimos este año y se ha mencionado ya. Fieles a nuestro compromiso con la libertad religiosa, la autonomía de la iglesia local y la separación entre la iglesia y el Estado, decidimos unirnos a una acción legal para restaurar las protecciones de las localidades sensibles que han permitido a nuestras congregaciones adorar y ministrar libremente, sin temor a interrupciones por parte del gobierno. Esta decisión fue bien significativa para mí como pastor de una iglesia de inmigrantes latinos que sintió el impacto de los cambios abruptos e inhumanos en política migratoria que ha efectuado la actual administración. Y yo quiero agradecer a nuestro equipo de abogacía y defensoría por trabajar diligentemente en esto. Y también quiero agradecer a nuestra Junta de Gobierno por votar unánimemente a favor de esta acción. Ahora, no pensemos que esto que hicimos fue una rareza, algo sin precedentes, de ninguna manera. Esto es precisamente ser un seguidor de Cristo Bautista. Esto es lo que nos ha caracterizado desde el principio. En el corazón de nuestra identidad bautista hay un compromiso profundo con la disidencia. Siempre hemos sido un pueblo que al enfrentar la injusticia, la corrupción y la coerción, ya sea por parte del Estado, la iglesia o la sociedad, elige el camino de la conciencia, elige el camino de la convicción, el camino de Cristo. Nuestros antepasados disintieron contra la idea de que los gobiernos debían controlar la iglesia, disintieron contra la noción de que la fe podía ser dictada por la fuerza en lugar de ser libremente elegida, se opusieron a sistemas que negaban la dignidad de cada creyente, insistiendo en cambio en que cada persona está ante Dios con la libertad y responsabilidad de buscar la verdad. Esta disidencia fue costosa. Muchos de nuestros antepasados fueron perseguidos, encarcelados e incluso asesinados por sus convicciones. Sin embargo, su valentía abrió el camino para que podamos estar aquí reunidos hoy, adorando y viviendo libremente nuestra fe. Mis hermanos, disentir no se trata de rebelarse por rebelarse de ninguna manera. Disentir para quienes seguimos a Cristo es un acto de fidelidad. Fidelidad al Evangelio, fidelidad al llamado de Jesús y al valor sagrado de toda persona. Y en este momento sociopolítico que nos ha tocado vivir, debemos preguntarnos, ¿dónde nos está llamando Dios a dar testimonio fiel, incluso cuando este testimonio pueda costarnos?
Hermanos y hermanas, nosotros estamos llamados a disentir contra cualquier ideología que pretenda sustituir a Cristo, su camino, su verdad y su vida por el poder político, el nacionalismo, la mentira o el miedo. Como verdaderos bautistas debemos rechazar cualquier intento de cooptar el evangelio para beneficio político o de usar el nombre de Jesús como un arma en lugar de proclamarlo como buenas noticias para los oprimidos, para los pobres y los marginados. Nosotros estamos llamados a disentir contra sistemas que explotan y excluyen. Y esta disidencia no es opcional, sino fundamental para quienes seguimos a Cristo, quien abrazó e incluyó a todos, en particular a aquellos que los sistemas sociales rechazaron y excluyeron. Hoy debemos preguntarnos, ¿defenderemos la dignidad de los inmigrantes, los hambrientos, los deambulantes, los pobres, los ancianos, los marginados, de aquellos que están siendo deshumanizados y demonizados por los líderes electos? ¿Nos mantendremos firmes con el Evangelio de Jesús contra las injusticias que nuestros funcionarios electos están cometiendo o permitiendo que sucedan? En contra de los más pequeños, quienes en su mayoría son personas de rostros negros o trigueños. ¿Tendremos nosotros el valor de hablar verdad al poder cuando las leyes y prácticas discriminatorias son falsamente presentadas como protección o seguridad nacional? Reclamaremos y mantendremos nuestra herencia como personas que luchan por lo correcto, no por conveniencia política, no cuando es seguro hacerlo, no solo para nosotros y para los que son o se parecen a nosotros, sino para todas las hijas e hijos de Dios, sin importar su origen, nacionalidad o circunstancia. Yo sé que como compañerismo tenemos un historial en esta lucha por la justicia. Hemos alzado nuestras voces y actuado en numerosas ocasiones, pero podemos hacer más. Nosotros estamos llamados a disentir contra la complacencia en nuestras propias iglesias. Es fácil volverse cómodo, dejar que el miedo al conflicto y a sus repercusiones nos impida hablar y vivir con audacia la verdad del Evangelio, pero nuestra fe no está destinada a ser pasiva ni a mantener el status quo. El mismo espíritu que le dio valor a los profetas, que incitó a los primeros bautistas a desafiar reyes y que motivó a quienes comenzaron este compañerismo a principios de los 90, 35 años atrás, está en nosotros y con nosotros. Así que dejemos que siga obrando libre y transformadoramente a través de nosotros hoy. Hermanos y hermanas, ser un disidente no es fácil. Requiere valentía, requiere sabiduría, requiere convicción y una profunda dependencia del Espíritu Santo de nuestra parte. Pero no caminamos solos por este camino. El mismo Señor Jesucristo fue el mayor disidente, desafiando los poderes religiosos y políticos de su época, negándose a inclinarse ante los imperios, elevando a los humildes y llamando a sus discípulos a un reino de amor, justicia y paz, que no se parecía en nada a Roma con su supuesta Pax Romana. Compañerismo bautista cooperativo, este es nuestro momento de llenarnos de valentía, levantar nuestras voces y actuar. Este es el momento de demostrar que nuestra alianza principal, fundamental y por sobre todo es con Cristo, su señorío y su reino. Por eso ha llegado el momento de dejar atrás un evangelio cómodo y un evangelio seguro. Este es el momento de unirnos como un solo cuerpo de Cristo en contra de las injusticias y denunciar lo que es incorrecto, injusto, inmoral y anticristo en nuestra sociedad. Venga de la izquierda o venga de la derecha. Este es el momento de aferrarnos a nuestras raíces bautistas y disentir con respeto y con convicción.
Y sí, nos puede costar. Pero ¿cuál es la alternativa para nosotros que estamos llamados a vivir en la tierra como ciudadanos del cielo? ¿Quedarnos callados? ¿Permitir que la opresión y la injusticia que nos afecta a todos se perpetúe? ¿Hablar de tener fe en Cristo pero no vivir según ella? Eso sería lo que Dietrich Bonhoeffer llamaba una gracia barata, la cual él decía que es la gracia sin seguir a Cristo, la gracia sin cruz, la gracia sin Jesucristo vivo y encarnado. ¿Qué ejemplo de fe sería ese para nuestras próximas generaciones? Es más, ¿con qué cara miraríamos a nuestros propios hijos y nietos y los instruiríamos en la fe si lo que ven de nosotros es una fe muerta, una fe que se acobarda, una fe que no toma acción, una fe que no se ve como Cristo? Sí, nos puede costar caro, pero hay mucho en juego. Hay mucho en juego. Ahora, no esperemos a que todo lo que está sucediendo nos afecte personalmente para entonces finalmente levantarnos, abogar y disentir. No esperes a que toque tu economía, no esperes a que amenace tu empleo o perturbe tu comodidad, tu privilegio o tu futuro para entonces decidir hacer algo. No, eso sería puro egoísmo e hipocresía. Levántate porque es lo justo y correcto, aunque no sea lo más popular. Hazlo en solidaridad con tu prójimo, entendiendo que el bienestar de cada uno es el bienestar de todos. Actúa porque hay hijos e hijas de Dios de distinto color, idioma, cultura, estatus migratorio, género e identidad sexual, que como seres humanos han padecido injusticias por años y han sido empobrecidos, despojados de su dignidad y privados de los derechos humanos fundamentales que Dios les ha dado. Hazlo porque tú sabes qué es lo que Cristo haría por amor hasta el Calvario. Compañerismo Bautista Cooperativo, nosotros somos la iglesia del Cristo resucitado. Con su resurrección nos amaneció un nuevo día y nuestra misión es vivir a la luz de esta realidad gloriosa. El reino de Dios que Jesús inauguró con su vida, con su muerte y resurrección, es donde todo el mundo pertenece, es uno donde todo el mundo pertenece. Y este tiene que manifestarse en nuestro mundo a través de nosotros, la iglesia viva, unida y activa de Jesús. Levantémonos pues con valor y con determinación. Seamos fieles disidentes, defensores incansables de la justicia y del amor, hasta que veamos el reino de Dios manifestarse plenamente entre nosotros, hasta que la voluntad de Dios se cumpla en la tierra como en el cielo. Demostrémosle a todos allá afuera, con nuestras palabras y con nuestras acciones, que ellos pertenecen aquí. Este es nuestro llamado, nuestro privilegio y nuestra responsabilidad. El momento nuestro es ahora. Aprovechemos pues nuestro momento. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I definitely feel like I belong here. Now, I would like to bring to the podium a leader in CBF life whose wisdom and curiosity have made me and the whole CBF governing board so much better in her years as moderator-elect. Tanya Parks is a former CBF Global Missions Field personnel in Slovakia, and she currently serves as the co-pastor of University Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tanya, I want to continue an annual tradition of passing to the incoming moderator a book that contains words of wisdom from your predecessors in this role, including me. As you lead our fellowship this year, I hope the handwritten words in this book that this book contains help you and give you strength and perspective.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor, and please help me to welcome my friend, your moderator, Tanya Parks.
For those of you that know me, I have a hard time speaking without a few tears. I thought I was going to make it through this, and then I had to witness the beautiful retirement of some of my dear friends. So I went outside to collect myself, and I thought I'd be okay. And then Juan, yeah. Thank you, brother. Thank you for challenging us. My choral director in college used to say, if that doesn't ring your bell, something's wrong with your clapper. I hope you've been inspired today as much as I have. CBF, 35 looks good on us. It has been my honor to be a part of the fellowship for as long as I can remember. As the daughter of a state coordinator, as a field personnel, as a seminarian, on the governing board, and now for the last 35 seconds as your moderator. I have witnessed the fellowship in many ages and stages of her development. I've experienced the deep sense of belonging to people, to places, and to this movement. Currently, I believe we are on a wonderful trajectory of diversity and boldness. And if what we have seen today is true of where we are going good places. Amen? Some think that we aren't doing diversity and inclusion and all the things fast enough, and I get it. But we're trying, aren't we? We're working. We're taking steps, step by step, different languages, cultures, sexual and gender orientations, and other diversities, working and worshiping under the same roof today. This is a testament of beloved community. This is our fellowship. This year, I, like Juan, had the opportunity of being in the room when we made some hard decisions. When we made the beautiful decision to retire with grace and love some wonderful, wonderful colleagues. When we made the bold decision to join in the act of what Juan said so beautifully. Thank you, Juan. And Juan led us through that with great discernment. It was holy, holy ground. And you should be proud of those that are leading your governing board and leading this fellowship in that way. You can know that everything we have done this year and everything that we will continue to do will be done prayerfully and with great concern and discernment. Where I serve at University Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we begin every worship service with saying to each other, "You are welcome here." It is our form of the passing of the peace. And as we remind each other week after week that we are welcome in the space, we also are reminded that we are welcome in each other's hearts and in each other's lives. There is a place to belong. Not only are we glad to see you and we want to get to know you, but you are welcome. And I'll be honest, some days that's harder than others to love all of us, isn't it? But true and genuine welcome is the beginning. Belonging is the goal. When we lived in Slovakia and worked with the Roma people as field personnel, they taught me what belonging felt like. They welcomed us with open arms into their churches and into their lives. And as we celebrated important holidays with them, they showed me that I belonged, that they knew me, cultural and language foibles and all, and that they loved me, and that my family had a place among them, though we may be different. I think of the disciples, a ragtag group of men and women who Jesus called and welcomed, and then Jesus created a space for them to belong, a kingdom unlike any other that they had understood, a movement that went beyond rules and regulations to love and acceptance, a place to be served and a place to serve. And as they moved and taught and healed and learned, they brought others into that space of belonging. As a woman in ministry and currently a pastor, the fellowship has been a place for me to belong. With amazing organizations like Baptist Women in Ministry and initiatives like Thriving in Ministry, I have had the opportunity to learn and grow alongside others. I have explored what it is to be called and how my unique gifting is a beautiful part of the whole. For me, and being around fellowship people always feels like coming home. Last year, the word family reunion was used over and over. It's a place that I feel a deep sense of belonging. But we are not done. There are many in our midst today that don't feel that sense of belonging. The deep sense of belonging that I feel when I walk the halls of the assembly may not be the one that everyone feels. It may not be the one that you feel. I hope that we can keep expanding and keep welcoming all into this beautiful space that is the fellowship. And I promise to continue working toward that this year as I serve you. There are many in our churches, in our fellowship, and especially in our world today that don't have a place to be known, a place to be loved. They don't feel like they belong. And this, right now, is our opportunity to carve out space for them to use their unique gifts and their unique backgrounds to serve us and for us to be served all together, to love and to be loved, to belong. I believe the business that we do on the governing board, some of the business that you have seen today, should match our dreams. And as we look into the future, I believe it is so good. As moderator, I vow to keep pushing the boundaries on what welcome and what belonging looks like. My dream for the fellowship is that we can be a place that is open for all, not just the ones that we like, not just the ones that like us. The gospel calls us to open our hearts and our minds to those who are different, those in whose presence we feel insecure or even fearful. We are called to invite them in, making beloved community a safe place for all. Will you join us? Will you find someone today that you don't know or that you haven't met yet? Will you say to them, "You are welcome here"? Or perhaps another gesture of love and belonging. And then in those other 362 days we have in this year, will you help us stand up boldly around our nation to protect the vulnerable and the marginalized among us? Will you then welcome them into your hearts and into your churches? May we become a place where all are welcome and all have the opportunity to belong. This is my dream for the fellowship, that all may know that they are loved by our Creator and that all may know that they belong here. May we use the beautiful gifts we have been given to continue the work that God has given us to do. Join me. All business being presented to the General Assembly having been concluded, the business session is adjourned. Please stand and join me for the benediction. Go in the love and the grace of our Lord Jesus, who offered us all a place to belong. May we have the courage to open our hearts and our doors. May we have the courage to dissent. May we have the discernment to realize that we don't have all the answers. May we experience and share God's endless grace. And may we do the good work of the fellowship as we offer all a place to belong. Go in peace.